Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today we are taking a look at a 2021 NFL mock draft from Ryan Wilson of CBS Sports. This one came out as of Monday morning, so updated roster spots, updated pick selections. And as usual, before we get into it, we appreciate the support. We've been grinding out the spring game content, back to some NFL draft content. If you guys like the content, subscribe, like the video. We love talking football in the comment section as well. So let us know what we're missing out on, what picks we're missing on. Still, let's get in the draft. Not as much chalk today. Ikem Ekwonu going first overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. What are you thinking here?
I don't hate that at all. I'm coming around to Ikem Ekwonu.
Me too.
Tackle one possibly, just because he's a little more versatile than Charles Cross, and I think probably a better athlete, a little more polished than maybe Evan Neal. So I don't hate that. I just don't hate it. Ikem Ekwonu at one.
I think Ikem Ekwonu, the more I watch, the more I think he has the highest. Like all three of them, Evan Neal, Charles Cross, Ikem Ekwonu, they all have high ceilings. Like they have all three of them all pro ceilings. Ikem Ekwonu might be the highest ceiling of the bunch. He's also versatile. He can play guard if you need him to. But
I wasn't talking guard. I'm just saying he can power block.
The power that he shows and like the ability to impact the run game at a high level is big time. Again, I'm probably taking Hutch here, but Ikem Ekwonu, I'm also growing on him. But Aidan Hutchinson falls at 2. That'd be a steal for the Detroit Lions. I think you're sprinting that card up. The best prospect we have in the draft in terms of just impacting the game in the pass rush, in the run game, and also just being a straight-up leader. Not much to say on this pick. Then Texans go get Evan Neal. So, again, the mixing up the tackle ranks. Evan Neal coming in as OT2 off the board. The Texans need to build around. I think it's going to be Davis Mills. That's where it seems like they're going to try to build around at the number 3 spot. Evan Neal probably come in and play right tackle. Laramie Tunsil's coming back. I also don't hate the Evan Neal fit at right tackle. Like Charles Cross should be going to a spot where he's going to come in and play left tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Giants take him at 5 to play right, but I really want to see Charles at left.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, Dale. You get another. 30
I mean,
this
isn't. You're not filling your position of need. You're picking the number at best number 4 defensive pass rusher. Sorry. So I just like What do you want to say? This is an obviously a Kyle Hamilton pick.
And if you're going to go edge, take Kayvon.
Charles Cross.
Or take Kayvon. Yeah, it's just like there's so many picks that you could go. I kind of agree with you there. Pick 5, Kayvon Thibodeaux goes. So they opt not to get tackled. And my thing about this pick is you should probably go Charles Cross if you want to get a tackle, because I think the Panthers will probably be eyeing him at 6. Kayvon Thibodeaux, obviously, we have a top 5 grade. The pick's not bad, but if you pass on Kayvon, I think you'll be there at 7 because that's the one position.
The drop off from you're right, because the Panthers, I'd be stunned if they pick an edge, but the drop off between the number 3 tackle and the number 3 and 4 defensive end is way less steep.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't get the 3rd best tackle. You can't take a tackle until the middle of the 2nd round, really, probably.
Yeah, I agree. So the Panthers end up going Charles Cross, and so now the Giants are kind of having an empty bag there. I don't hate the Charles Cross pick. They might just need – I don't love taking a quarterback with the 6 overall because we're not very high on this quarterback class. But Sam Darnold obviously ain't it. He was on a podcast. He was on Bustin' with the Boys saying that he thinks he's proven that he's a good quarterback in the league. I was like, define proving you're a good quarterback, weird. Buddy.
He's not really played any good football yet.
But he's never been in a great situation. But, I don't hate this. I mean, the Panthers are able to get a tackle that's the best pass protector in the class. I see Charles Cross as just being a 10 to 15-year starter in the league with an all-pro ceiling and a solid starter floor. Like, he's a super safe pick, great feet, great athleticism. He's a freak athlete. Like, looking back at the testing numbers, his feet's great. He fixed that anchor problem that I think a lot of people worried about. He's a great prospect. The more I watch all 3 of the tackles, the more it's just like these guys are good. Like, really,
they're so good. They could all be top 5. You had C3 go, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The Giants now with the empty bag that they're holding, take Ahmad Sauce Gardner, who's another guy that throughout the process maybe it's the media getting to me, but I'm getting more and more comfortable with him being cornerback 1. He's not cornerback 1 on my board, but I think it's a lot closer than I thought it was a couple of weeks ago. Even with Derek Stingley testing all right, for my reasoning is that he's just a super he's a guy that has a super high floor. Like I don't see.
I actually think Kyle Hamilton makes a ton of sense here.
Absolutely.
They're moving on from Jabril Peppers, it seems like, and I think I'll just say it till I'm red in the face. Kyle Hamilton has an argument for the best and most impactful player in this draft. 100% he does.
Yeah, obviously we disagree a little bit on most impactful because I'm going with one of the starting all-pro tackles you could get, or Aidan Hutchinson. That being said, Kyle Hamilton with the picks are available here. And if you're discussing impact on the game between Sauce Gardner and Kyle Hamilton, it's certainly close. I'd probably be leaning Kyle Hamilton as well. But Ahmad Sauce Gardner is so safe. Like there's not many worlds where I see him being a bust or not being good NFL.
Always, do you think Kyle Hamilton's not safe?
No, that's true. That's very true. I mean, the 40 times some people may argue that he's not safe. We obviously disagree.
Watch the game. It's very obvious he's not slow.
Pick 8, Garrett Wilson makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons.
It's just getting popular, huh?
It is getting popular. I'm more of a Travon Walker to 8, or even a Jermaine Johnson. I have Jermaine Johnson as a higher guy on my big board, but the wide receiver room in Atlanta is just barren. Like it's horrible. Just would be unfair to trot out Marcus Mariota throwing to just like wide receiver 3s all over the board.
You really aren't going to have much, so it makes sense to go with them, except for the fact that
Calvin Ridley as a little bit of a trade piece for next year. You have your wide receiver 1, you have Kyle Pitts, and if you're trying to move up to get a quarterback, maybe you can package in Calvin Ridley, who's coming.
Yeah, I really wonder if he'll end up on the team following a suspension. It feels like maybe not. And it makes sense for both parties probably to move on.
He was getting a lot of trade value too. Apparently the Falcons were being like good Samaritans and like not engaging in trade talk because they knew the investigation was happening. All right, Malik Willis, number 9. I personally like the pick. Again, a guy that you're not going to be competing for a while. Go get a guy who's a developmental dude who has a super high ceiling and a guy that can be an elite level quarterback. That being said, I just don't see it happening. Like this is the opposite of what Pete Carroll wants at quarterback. I don't know how long Pete Carroll will be in Seattle. I think he's getting old. I don't know if he wants to go full on rebuild. Obviously, I think the Seahawks will have him as long as he wants to stay there. But I'd be surprised, similar to like what Sean Payton did, where it's like I don't see a runway for like competing in a Super Bowl for another 5 years. I don't know if I'm going to stick around. But I personally like it. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, they might just like blow it all up, and they might just tell him like, "You're out after this. We're moving in this direction."
Yeah. Trevor Penning going number 10. I'm getting more and more off the Trevor Penning has so much to clean up, especially in pass protection. He's a 23-year-old prospect who has some serious flaws in pass protection, and just his overall game is really raw. And I'm not a huge guy. I'm not going to stand on a hill and be like, don't draft old prospects. But it's like, if he hasn't figured it out by 23, and he's going up like 2 levels. Like it's not just going from college to the NFL. He's going from FCS and then it's Power 5 and then it's the NFL. And he most penalized offensive lineman in the country last year with, I believe, 5 holdings, 5 personal fouls, and 2 false starts. And everyone's like, oh, he's mean, gritty. No, I think he's more just a loose cannon who's not very technical. So I don't know.
I mean, this pick, along with I just don't see you getting a left tackle in the NFL. I think at best maybe he'll be a decent right, and his best shot is be a guard.
Yeah, same.
But you have Kyle Hamilton and Derek Stingley on the board, and you're giving up 70 points a game. This is a no-brainer. Yeah, you need to take Kyle Hamilton.
This would be an absolute steal for the Commanders, who are kind of missing that piece with Landon Collins leaving. I don't see how the Jets go Trevor Penning over Kyle Hamilton. I mean, we still got Jermaine Johnson is still on the board. Derek Stingley is still on the board. And the Jets are taking Trevor Penning at 10 is just an absolute wild pick. But Commanders, good on them for getting the steal of the draft so far. The Vikings go get Derek Stingley, who –
nice spot for them.
Yeah, it is a nice spot. I still – Jermaine Johnson would certainly be up there as well. Whoever gets Jermaine Johnson at this point is going to be very happy. But Yeah, Derek Stingley, you guys know the deal, how we feel about him. He's a stud. Go get him. He's good at
This would be a nice shakeout for the Vikings. They
Absolutely
get their pick
would.
of the two guys they probably most want.
Derek Stingley and Jermaine Johnson. They have they have a chance to get both of them. The Houston Texans go get Drake London. So continuing to build, and I don't hate it. Like, I know they have a lot of holes, but I think the first thing you have to do, and I talked about this on the last episode, is figure out if Davis Mills is the guy. Go get Ikem Ekwonu. Protection should be good with him and Tunsil. And now go get him Drake London. I think
so. Is Drake London become the consensus number 2 wideout?
I think a lot of people have it.
Like,
that's
it
not.
Seems like everybody does. I don't even think it's close. I think he's like 4 to 5. Honestly, it depends on what you think is better, him or Dotson.
Again,
I got Dotson, but
it's just I don't love to. This is not our type of guy. A guy who relies on contested catch. High points.
Yeah, you don't want that to be your highlight. Is your high point catcher? It's like,
exactly.
How many times a game does that actually factor into what you do? Like maybe once.
Now he'd be a nice safety net though. I would think, in terms of like Davis Mills, a reliable target who likes to work the middle of the field. But
how different is he than Nico Collins though? Aren't they like?
Yes, I kind of agree. Obviously, Drake London probably a little bit better prospect, but I do kind of agree with that. Jermaine Johnson falling to 14. Obviously, Jordan Davis would be the popular pick, but if Jermaine Johnson's on the board, you can't pass him up. Pair him up with Olave Owe. You got a very good young pass rush group. This is a dynamite pick. This is going to be a dynamite pick for whoever gets Jermaine Johnson outside the top 10.
Yeah.
Pick 14, Jordan Davis.
Ooh, they snatched him from the Chargers. That would hurt.
So I wonder if this happens and the Eagles just trade up a spot, go get Jermaine Johnson, and then the Baltimore Ravens slide down and take JD. Because the fits are better if you reverse him a little bit, but Jordan Davis, get him under Fletcher Cox, learn a little bit.
I don't see that even a possible. Like, I just don't see Jermaine Johnson making it much out of I don't see him making it past the Vikings, honestly.
Well, most NFL teams value Travon Walker over.
That's true. That is
which
true.
It seems like the NFL nerds do that. We'll see. We had a talk with ROC in this morning over text. Like, he's a Travon Walker guy. Pick 16, Kenny Pickett still on the board. So we had just a Saints a fan in our comment section saying, like, this team's ready to win now. Like, it has a great defense. They have one of the best running backs in the country. Mike Thomas, if healthy and happy, is one of the best wide receivers in the league. Go get a guy like Jameson Williams.
Yeah, go up and get a running back and see if you can do it.
And Jameis Winston probably will put up 20, 25 touchdowns and be a solid quarterback if you can limit the turnovers. And this team can compete. It absolutely can compete. I don't really love the idea of rebuilding here. Kenyon Green to the Chargers. I wonder if they would try to put him at right tackle. I think he certainly has a shot at playing right tackle, but at the end of the day, got to protect Justin Herbert. Outside of Rashawn Slater, it's not great. And so you're getting Kenyon Green, a high.
He'll fill a hole somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, right? He'll fill a hole somewhere, and he impacts the game at a high level. Pick 18, Devin Lloyd. So, again, not necessarily our linebacker one, but I think the Eagles linebacker. It does seem reasonable. George Karlaftis is still on the board. I think the Eagles could go there if they want to really get into the trenches. And again, if you get George Karlaftis and Jordan Davis, it don't matter who your linebacker is. Like, it's gonna be hard to run the football on that team. But I do like Devin Lloyd. Pair him up with Jordan Davis is gonna make his job a lot easier. Yeah, there you go. I mean, I like this pick. I think it should have been the 16th pick, and then go get like George Karlaftis at 19. It is a good pick. Jameson Williams, I think, balances out what Mike Thomas likes to do a lot. Jameis Winston likes to push the ball downfield. Jameson Williams is probably the best vertical threat in the class. Undoubtedly the best vertical threat in the class. So that seems to be a good fit there. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Packers trade up to around 20. We haven't seen too many trades. The
Packers will end up with a good pick though at wideout because I don't see the Steelers going wideout.
We like them both more.
I think you got to take Linderbaum if you're the Steelers, unless you're going to take a quarterback like Malik. But
yeah, I mean they do need some wide receiver help. But again, I'm interested to see what the Chiefs and Packers do because they're both very needy at the wide receiver position. And there's a lot of teams that could go wide receiver. The Saints, you could throw the Eagles in there. You could throw the Patriots in there. I wonder who they get cornerback Trent McDuffie, which I want to talk about. Trent McDuffie's available at 21, and the Bills are sitting at 25. The Patriots do like trading down. I don't know if they'll trade down.
And I think you got to be stingy with those picks when you sign your quarterback, like your draft picks. I feel like they matter so much,
for the Bills.
Yeah,
I agree, but if you're getting a Trent McDuffie, like I prefer Trent McDuffie way more than I do Kyrie Lamb or Andrew Booth, especially in the fit. And when the Bills are this close to winning a Super Bowl, and it's really if they can get a solid DB who's going to hit in Trent McDuffie, it's well worth a second or third round pick, whatever it costs to move up 4 spots in the first round, in my opinion. Again, the Bills are so close.
I don't see that like. Okay, if you end up with McDuffie versus Elam, you really think that's that?
Oh yeah, I do absolutely. I have McDuffie well higher than Booth and Elam in terms of like I have McDuffie as a top 20 guy, Booth and Elam more towards the back, like 28 to 35.
I think it's razor tight with him and Elam personally.
Oh, so we just disagree on the evals.
Disagree.
Packers get Olave. This is a steal. If they can sit back at 22 and get Chris Olave, wide receiver 2 in the class for the ROC Boys.
He's so nice.
Yeah, that's a dynamite.
Wide receiver 2, speak for yourself. I got him as 1. Probably might be the best in the last 5 years, realistically.
Jamar, have you ever heard of Jamar Chase?
Yeah, it's tough. Jamar Chase.
But in terms of replacing Devontae Adams, Chris Olave is about as close as it gets in terms of like their
not quite the size, but
route run,
like very similar, smooth route runners for sure.
Boye Mafe again, a pick that we've seen this a couple times. Dill is scoffing at a lot of these picks from Ryan Wilson right now.
I'll scoff at any pick I disagree with. I'm not like you.
I agree.
So agreeable.
I'm not agreeing with this pick. I mean, Boye Mafe is a guy that he tested well. Like, and people are saying he's an elite athlete. He tested well. I've said it before. Like, I didn't think I saw the elite athleticism on the film. Like, it wasn't dominant film. It was second, third round grade film, realistically.
I don't even think it was really that high, honestly.
Yeah, it wasn't that impressive.
He never dominated. He's been there for 5 years.
And then, I'll say that, like, good elite athletes,
up.
like people like to describe Boye Mafe, they don't stay 5 years. Like, look at Travon Walker. Stays 3 years. He's an elite athlete. He's out after 3 years. Boye Mafe had to stay 5 years.
He barely even played.
It's not,
he played like for 1 year.
That seems like a stretch. But the Cardinals do like the athletes, like Isaiah Simmons, David Collins, like the guys who tested really well. That's who they like. Hasn't really worked out for them that much. Tyler Linderbaum to the Cowboys steal.
Tough to pass him up here for sure.
Tyler Linderbaum is going to be if you guys watch a lot, like he's going to be the Creed Humphrey of this class, but better. Creed Humphrey's a guy that slid down to the end of the second round because people are like, he's a center. Well, guess what? He's one of the best centers in the league right now. Tyler Linderbaum, week 1, will be a top 5 center in the league. That's how good this dude is. That's how good his film was.
I agree with all of
questions about the weight can kick rocks. Andrew Booth.
Oh, this hurts you, doesn't it?
I think Trent McDuffie, give up a 3rd round pick or a 2nd round pick, whatever it costs. I would rather have Trent
McDuffie. Oh my God, that's
crazy. To be
crazy.
fair, I'm not great with the value tables with the trades. I just kind of.
Oh, I don't have a clue. It's just what I feel in my gut. But
I don't know if you were walking away with Trent McDuffie in the NFL draft for a reasonable like trade, I'd be happy. Absolutely thrilled. Again, I don't know if the Patriots are going to trade down with us, but again, man, I'm a Trent McDuffie guy. I think he'd be a great fit.
Bill would do it if he thinks it's going to help him. He wouldn't care.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Tyler Smith to the Tennessee Titans. Again, a guy that's raw. He'll play guard, I think, to start out. I
actually don't hate that pick, honestly. I think it's like because Zion Johnson's on the board, I think it's not a great pick. But like
Zion Johnson's the better prospect. But in terms of what Tennessee tries to do with the downhill run game, we said this with the Kenyon Green pick the other episode. Kenyon Green fits what they want to do a little bit more.
Tyler Smith is also a guy I don't think the like layman football fans can have any sense of how good or not good he is. So this is like a guy I think if a coach sees something in him and is like, I can make this guy work, he might be like a really upper level offensive guard or tie. It's just hard to tell because Tulsa was so weird. You couldn't judge anyone on that team.
I thought the Bucs were a surefire getting Zion Johnson. We've seen that in almost every mock. If he's there at 27, the Bucs take him. They end up going with Daxton Hill, who's a prospect that we love. Again, a guy that played nickel last year, and he checks all the boxes of what you ask for at a safety. He's a very fluid mover, very good at man coverage. He has the speed and range to play like that cover one center field position. Good ball skills, 3 interceptions last year. Can come into the box and tackle, blitz off the edge. Like, he can do it all. He
feels a little weird though with Antoine Winfield, and he's working out.
And Mikey Edwards from Kentucky. So it's an interesting pick. But Daxton Hill's a good prospect.
Especially when Marpe retired and the center, who knows how much gas he's got left in the tank. So
Packers go get Nakobe Dean. Again, a guy that we love.
This would be such a good draft for the Packers.
Yes, it would be. It would be. They're getting 2 really good prospects. Nakobe Dean's a guy that just I don't care what people say about the length and the speed.
Flick the tape on, the guy was everywhere.
Yeah, he's dripping with instincts. Just a good football player. Devontae Wyatt falls all the way to the Chiefs. Put him up with Chris Jones, and I like Devontae Wyatt. He's got a really good first step. I think he didn't really get asked to do much at Georgia in terms of getting in the backfield, making plays. Him and JD were kind of responsible for eating blocks and letting the linebackers cook a little. But I think if you want to get some value in the inside pass rush and in the run game, Devontae Wyatt's that dude. Kirby Smart talked a lot about how they worked on his conditioning so he can play all the snaps that he did. Probably should have done that with Jordan Davis as well. Pick 30.
Davis just huge.
Yeah, I don't know if you're ever gonna get a big gas tank in that guy because he's just like a Hummer. Like you gotta stop at the gas station a lot.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson, this is a good pick. We actually have Mike Joseph on. Jahan Dotson, again, I said the same thing during that episode. He's gonna provide a little bit more structure for the Chiefs. We had some fans say that, or some listeners say like, "Oh, the Chiefs is an overstated need to go get Jahan Dotson or
I just wide receiver."
I don't totally, because Pat Mahomes is going to make it work with anybody, kind of like the Bills with Josh Allen. Like,
I don't know if that's like so true though, because I feel like you've seen moments where Mahomes starts playing too much, like what he was doing at the beginning of the year this year. You just like
pressing, yeah.
He was pressing the whole time, and it wasn't working obviously. So I don't know that I agree with this.
It's going to be interesting to see a storyline, kind of like the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady conversation of like who needed who more. Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, they were both the best at their position. Who was good? They could just be both really good players, and they're both going to be some of the best players. That's probably the truth. But I do value like Jahan Dotson, just giving a little bit more structure, a guy who can create separation kind of throughout the whole.
A weapon.
Yeah. Because Juju Smith ain't going to do it all by himself.
Yeah,
you obviously still have Travis Kelce, but it'll be interesting to see how Pat Mahomes does without Tyreek Hill, and vice versa. See how Tyreek Hill does without Patty. Bengals go get Kyrie Elam. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, getting Andrew Booth, Kyrie Elam, somebody who's going to make your team.
You got to replace Eli Apple. It seems like I don't feel like they're going to re-sign him. So.
Well, they put him on for one more year, but Kyrie Elam, Andrew Booth, I'm sure they'll get playing time. They'll be good. Both guys that we like. And then
because it's not like Eli Apple's job is totally safe. It's not like he was killing.
This is an interesting pick here.
Don't like it.
I don't love it either, and I've kind of talked about why I don't love it. I think the Detroit Lions have a lot of holes to fill, and there's going to be a lot of prospects at this range, like a Jalen Petrie. Both linebackers are off the board, but David Ajabo's there. There's some really good – I would love to see Hutchinson Ajabo in Detroit, by the way. That'd be freaking awesome. It's just you're kind of reaching on a quarterback that is.
Yeah, I think you'd take a linebacker or Treylon Burks, honestly. I feel like you'd take one of those.
Treylon Burks went to 20 to the Steelers, but – There's more holes that they can fill in. But again, Kenny Pickett's a guy that we like. He's our quarterback one in terms of like being the NFL ready quarterback. I just think there's like 3 or 4 quarterbacks that I'm pretty comfortable are going to be better than Kenny Pickett next year. And I'm guessing Detroit Lions will be in that range too.
I will say one of those, I saw someone comment in our videos, you don't know what's going to happen. And like, that's very true.
Very true. Oh,
what we thought was going to be a great class this year, it turned out to be god awful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate people listening and like thinking like that, because that's something I never really thought of. And he makes a really good point. Like, you never know what the quarterback class is going to look like next year, nor do you know who will be picking. Like, the Detroit Lions might win 7 games and don't look like they can get a quarterback, and now what are you going to do? So, Kenny Pickett on the board at 32. If you do like him, go up and get him, I guess. Again,
I feel like he's basically Goff, though, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I just don't know.
It's not like similar players besides being more athletic.
Yeah, I just think they're none of these quarterbacks really strike me as like, oh, you can go win a Super Bowl or make a run in the playoffs with this quarterback. And with such good talent in this draft, kind of towards the back end of the first round, early second, I just don't know if I see reaching up on a quarterback like that. But again, I think it's a great point that the listener made. Like, it got me thinking. I started looking at the 2023 class, and like, there are some question marks. So I appreciate the people who listen, give us comments like that, talk about ball in the comments.
I gotta say, I think this draft basically had the guys I would have in the first round, like not
just in
the
different
order per se.
Yep, I agree.
But I actually like agree with the, if you will, the prospect ranking, because there's not anyone I was like, oh, that's not a first round player.
Yeah, no, besides like a Trevor Penning and a Boye Mafe were the only 2 that really stuck out to me. It's like, that seems rich. Trevor Penning going at 10 was easily like the most questionable pick in my eyes. But the rest of the draft class, like, there wasn't any reaches on guys that I really don't like outside of Boye Mafe. So Ryan Wilson, obviously we appreciate the content he puts out. He's very smart. I like to listen to him. Appreciate you guys for watching us. Let us know in the comment section what you guys disagree with. I love talking about it in the comment section. We appreciate you guys for listening, and we'll be back with some more content later. Peace, y'all.